Have you ever thought that sometimes going alone could be the answer to the growth that you're looking for? Ever wondered what the benefits of some time alone, or how to stop feeling lonely and find enjoyment in being alone? Then this episode's for you. Welcome back to the Big Lab podcast. Today, I want to explore something deceptively simple, yet profoundly transformative: solitude. Now, I'm not talking about loneliness, that feeling of isolation that can weigh heavily. I'm talking about intentional, restorative solitude. The act of being alone on purpose, to think, reflect, and simply be. Blaise Pascal once said, all of humanity's problems stem from a man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Think about that. In a world that constantly pulls us in every direction, notifications, social media, meetings, endless tasks, how often do we actually sit quietly with ourselves? How often do we listen to our own minds without interruption? Solitude is not the absence of life, it's the presence of self. It's where clarity begins, where creativity takes shape, and where our values and priorities can come into focus. It gives you the space to observe your thoughts, notice your emotional patterns, and uncover insights that the noise of everyday life tends to blur. In this episode, we're going to explore the psychological and emotional benefits of solitude, what neuroscience tells us happens in your brain when you spend some time alone, lessons from philosophy, history, and some of the world's most reflective thinkers, practical ways to integrate solitude into your life, even when you're busy or naturally extroverted. Because here's the truth: solitude is not a luxury, it's a superpower. It's the secret ingredient that fuels creativity, deep thinking, emotional resilience, and self awareness. By the end of this episode, you'll have a new perspective on alone time. You'll understand why it's essential for mental clarity and personal growth, and more importantly, how to harness it intentionally in your own life. So let's dive in and discover why the moments we spend with ourselves might be the most transformative of all. Spending time alone isn't just about peace and quiet, it has tangible psychological benefits. Solitude provides a rare opportunity for self-reflection and emotional regulation. When you remove distractions, you give your mind the chance to process experiences, confront emotions, and gain clarity about your values and priorities. Without this pause, our thoughts often remain tangled, and our emotional reactions become automatic rather than considered. Research shows that intentional alone time can reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, and help stabilize mood. People who regularly practice solitude report higher self-awareness and stronger sense of identity. They make decisions more deliberately, respond to challenges with less reactivity, and experience a sense of calm that is hard to achieve in constant social or digital engagement. Carl Jung captured this beautifully. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. That's the essence of solitude. By turning inward, you awaken self-awareness. You start to notice recurring patterns, acknowledge suppressed thoughts, and understand which emotions are authentic and which are conditioned responses. Solitude also allows you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself without external pressure. It's where you explore questions like, who am I becoming? Are my choices aligned with my values? Am I living intentionally? Or am I merely reacting to life's demands? And while solitude can feel uncomfortable at first, this discomfort is precisely what makes it transformative. Sitting with your own thoughts, even when they're messy or confusing, builds resilience and strengthens emotional intelligence. It gives you the ability to face challenges without immediately seeking distractions or validation from others. In short, solitude is a training ground for the mind and emotions. It teaches you how to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, how to sit with uncertainty, and how to emerge from reflection with clarity and purpose. By intentionally carving out time to be alone, you're investing in your mental health, emotional stability, and your ability to live in a more conscious, deliberate life. Let's dive into what actually happens in the brain when we spend some time alone. Solitude isn't just a psychological or emotional practice. It has measurable effects on the neural activity. When you disconnect from external stimuli, your default mode network, or DMN, becomes active. This network is responsible for self-reflection, memory consolidation, future planning, and creative thinking. Essentially, it's the part of your brain that connects the dots, linking experiences, ideas, and insights that you might never notice when you're constantly distracted. Spending intentional alone time also strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the brain region in charge of decision-making, focus, and emotional regulation. By giving yourself space to think deeply, you're training your brain to respond more thoughtfully to challenges and reducing the tendency to react impulsively. Even small practices like journaling, meditative walking, and quiet reflection can amplify these effects. Your brain begins to recognize these moments as opportunities to process experiences, evaluate your goals, and integrate learning. Over time, this rewiring improves creativity, clarity, and overall mental resilience. Susan Cain, author of Quiet, put it beautifully. Solitude is where I place my chaos to rest and awaken my clarity. This isn't just philosophical, this is neuroscience in action. Creative thinkers, writers, and innovators throughout history have intuitively sought solitude because it allows the mind to explore without interruption. From composers drafting music alone to authors refining ideas in quiet rooms, solitude acts as a catalyst for insight and invention. Even modern neuroscience backs this up. Studies show that students and professionals who spend time in reflection, whether through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting quietly, demonstrate improved problem solving skills, higher creativity scores, and better emotional awareness than those constantly engaged in external stimulation. In essence, solitude gives your brain the space to operate at its full potential. It's a period of active mental growth where your thoughts, memories, and ideas are organized and synthesized into clarity. Solitude has been celebrated not just in modern psychology or neuroscience, but throughout history by some of the greatest thinkers and philosophers. Across cultures and centuries, the value of being alone has been recognized as a path to clarity, wisdom, and self mastery. Take the Stoics, for instance. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, frequently retreated into solitude to reflect and reset his mind amidst the chaos of ruling an empire. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." For the Stoics, solitude wasn't about escaping the world. It was about discipline and reflection, creating space to understand one's values, evaluate actions, and cultivate inner resilience. Nietzsche also emphasized the creative power of solitude. He wrote, "The best thinking is done alone." He recognized that ideas, insights, and philosophical breakthroughs require time away from external distractions where the mind can explore freely. Many great artists, writers, and scientists intuitively embrace this principle, seeking periods of intentional isolation to refine their thoughts and craft. Even in Eastern philosophy, solitude has a central place. Buddhist meditation, for example, encourages practitioners to sit alone, observe their thoughts, and cultivate awareness. This practice strengthens mindfulness, emotional regulation, and self understanding, mental clarity that carries into all areas of life. And then there's Henry David Thoreau, who retreated to Walden Pond for 2 years. He observed, "I've never found a companion that was so companionable as solitude." Thoreau wasn't rejecting society, he was seeking the freedom to think deeply and engage authentically with both himself and the world. Across these diverse traditions, one theme is clear. Solitude is not punishment or loneliness. It is intentional presence with oneself. It provides the space to reflect, to wrestle with difficult questions, and to nurture the mind and spirit. When we understand solitude in this way, it transforms from a passive or uncomfortable experience into an active, empowering practice. It becomes a tool for personal growth, creative insight, and mental resilience, a way to engage with life more intentionally rather than reactively. So we've explored what solitude is, why it matters psychologically, what neuroscience tells us, and how philosophers have long championed it. But now, let's get practical. How do you actually harness the power of alone time in your everyday life? First, it's about intentional scheduling. Solitude works best when it's deliberate. Even 20 to 30 minutes a day can have a profound effect. It doesn't have to be a full day retreat or a weekend off the grid. Small, consistent blocks of time can gradually transform your thinking and clarity. Next, consider disconnecting from technology. Phones, notifications, and social media constantly pull your attention outward. During solitude, step away from these distractions, silence your phone, close your laptop, and create a space where your thoughts can flow freely. Once you've created the space and time, choose a reflective activity. This could be journaling, meditating, walking in nature, or simply sitting quietly and observing your thoughts. The goal is not to do anything specific. It's to allow your mind the freedom to process, explore, and integrate experiences. Embrace the discomfort that often arises in solitude. The mind is used to constant stimulation, so the first few minutes may feel restless or uneasy. That resistance is actually valuable. It's where insight, creativity, and self-understanding emerge. Think of it like mental strength training. The longer you sit with yourself, the more resilient and focused your mind becomes. Solitude is about preparing to engage with the world, not retreating from it. When you practice solitude regularly, You return to social interactions, work, and creative projects with clarity, focus, and intentionality. Your decisions become more aligned with your values, your ideas sharpen, and your emotional responses more considered. Finally, remember that solitude is personal. Introverts may find it naturally restorative, while extroverts may need to ease into it. Start small, experiment with different activities, and notice what brings the most mental clarity and calm. In short, solitude is a practice, not a punishment. By scheduling it intentionally, removing distractions, embracing reflective activities, and leaning into the discomfort, you turn your alone time into a tool for personal growth, creativity, and mental resilience. As we wrap up this episode, let's reflect on everything we've explored about solitude. From psychology and neuroscience to philosophy and practical application, solitude is not loneliness. It's a conscious choice to spend time with yourself, to observe your thoughts, process emotions, and gain clarity. It's where your mind can untangle patterns, where creativity emerges, and where emotional regulation strengthens. It's where insight, reflection, and personal growth happen naturally. Rainer Maria Rilke once said, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves." Solitude creates the space to sit with those questions. It allows you to explore the inner landscape without distraction, to notice what's truly important, and to cultivate a sense of presence that carries into every aspect of life. By intentionally practicing solitude, you strengthen your default mode network, activate your prefrontal cortex, and improve your brain's capacity for problem solving, reflection, and decision making. You give yourself the mental clarity and emotional resilience that constant busyness and distractions simply cannot provide. Practically speaking, start small. Even 20 to 30 minutes a day can create noticeable change. Turn off your phone, step away from screens, journal, meditate, or take a mindful walk. Lean into the initial discomfort. That restlessness is a part of the process. Over time, solitude becomes a tool, a superpower, rather than a challenge. Thoreau described it perfectly. "I never found a companion that was so companionable as solitude." Solitude is your companion. It listens, it reflects, and it allows you to emerge from your thoughts with clarity, creativity, and intentionality. It's where your ideas take shape, where your emotions settle, and where your personal growth accelerates. So the next time you feel the pull of distraction or busyness, remember, alone time is not wasted. It's an investment in your mind, your creativity, and your ability to live with purpose. Start small, experiment, observe yourself, and embrace the silence. In those quiet moments, you'll find that the most profound companion you can ever have is yourself. And that's where true insight, growth, and clarity are born. Thank you very much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, drop it a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.